The Oedipal Child, the immature version of the lover. Before I begin this section, I would just like to make a short commentary. Both the Oedipal Child and the lover deals with our relationship with the feminine. This can be a difficult subject for men who are attached to a classical notion of masculinity, but in my view, this is not the fundamental aspect, but rather the one that links all of the other three together in a cohesive whole. In the future, after we have done a lot of the other three archetypes, we'll take a good look at this and we will see how much the feminine energy can balance the psyche of a man, particularly in his relationship with his mother. I think for many years men have been living in a world where he has suppressed the lover inside of him, and this has manifested itself most distinctively in the forms of homophobia and misogyny. It is a part of ourselves that we suppress, and we what's that damn word? We project that onto those that we consider feminine. When I talk about the feminine, I am going to, I'm going to propose that there is a fundamental feminine element inside every man, and that can be uncomfortable for some men who hear that, and most likely they will deny it. However, as I said, it does give balance to the other three, and it is of vital importance that it is developed. It is not a female-like presence inside of them, rather it is a feminine type of action. More specifically, it is an action of nurturing and of intuition. I would say that out of the three, this has the most direct relevance in terms of relating to women. However, it is important that the other three elements have a solid base before the lover is developed. In the early part of the 21st century, we witnessed something called the metrosexual movement. And if I would analyze it, this was the development of the lover or the Oedipal child inside of men. However, there was a lack of focus on the other three archetypes. For example, the lack of king energy. The king was not developed inside men, however the lover was. And so what we had was a tendency to act in a more feminine manner, to take care of ourselves, to nurture ourselves, to look after our health. However, when the king is not developed, this manifests itself as narcissism. So we had a large, a wave of narcissistic, self-caring products coming through in the media and in our image of ourselves as men. So those are my thoughts on that. So we'll begin with the Oedipal child. We'll continue, let's say. All the immature masculine energies are overly tied, one way or another, to mother, and are deficient in their experience of the nurturing and mature side. Although the boy from the Oedipal child is a powerful archetypal influence, let's try that again. Although the boy for whom the Oedipal child is a powerful archetypal influence may be deficient in his experience of the nurturing masculine, that's quite a long sentence, he is able to access the positive qualities of the archetype. He is passionate and has a sense of wonder and a deep appreciation for connectedness with his inner depths, with others, and with all things. He is warm, related, and affectionate. He also expresses through his experience of connectedness with Mother, the primal relationship for almost all of us, the origins of what we call spirituality. In the future, I will be delving into the idea of spirituality. In fact, it is vital for all of us to have a string of spirituality in our own lives. I think that spirituality in modern pop culture is overly feminized for obvious reasons, and because there is a lack of men who participate in it, and for other social and religious reasons too. Having a strong development of the lover archetype and its immature sense. As I said, it is vital for us to connect with women. Having first developed the other three archetypes and then connected with the lover archetype inside of us. And I think that the reason for this is that the lover archetype allows us to feel. It allows us to express our emotions. And for one thing, it is, easily the most important thing when communicating with a woman. There is a lot of mention of the mother as well. And, if you get the chance, then just focus on your own relationship with your mother. And if possible, improve it. Anything you can as soon as possible. Improve it in any way and keep doing it, for the rest of your life. She may not even need to be alive. The real relationship is the image of your mother or the image of the feminine that exists in your own mind. That is the one that is the important one. When that relationship with yourself, the feminine inside your own mind, when that is dealt with, then your relationship with your mother and women in your life, I think, can improve drastically. So, continuing, this mother is not real. This mother is not his real mortal mother. She is bound to disappoint him much of the time in his need for connectiveness and perfection, or infinite love and nurturing. Rather, the mother that he is sensing beyond his own, beyond all beauty and feeling, in the things of the world, and that he is experiencing in the deep feelings and images of his inner life, is the Great Mother, the goddess in her many forms in the myths and legends of many peoples and cultures. In the future, we may actually explore Greek myths and Greek mythology, and how sexuality permeates through all of that, and the relationship between, let's say, Zeus and what's his name? Gaia, and if you played God of War, then you just know this story. But that really, if you look at it from an anthropological point of view, that is a playing out of the masculine and feminine energies in our own psyche. The act of, let's say, Kronos, that's his name, when Kronos attempts to devour Zeus in his own belly, and later on Zeus comes back after being nurtured by the great feminine Gaia, and comes back and kills his father, and that is how he becomes king of all the gods, and so fathers and nurtures the Olympians. As we go into the future, we will look at how these actions, these dynamics play inside our own minds. It's not just a crazy bunch of fairy tales. Interestingly enough, it is not possible for Zeus to do this without being nurtured by the feminine, by his mother who saves him by replacing his infant body with a rock. We'll get into that, quite well into the future, but keep that in mind for future reference. Okay, so we head into the shadows. the mama's boy. The Oedipal Child shadow consists of the mama's boy, and the dreamer. The mama's boy is, as we all know, tied to mama's apron strings. He causes the boy to fantasize about marrying his mother, about taking her away from his father. If there is no father, or a weak father, this so-called Oedipal urge comes on all the stronger, and this crippling side of the Oedipal Child bipolar shadow may possess him. So the book goes on to tell how, the term, the Oedipal Child comes from the term, it comes from the Theban play, King Oedipus, or Oedipus Rex. It's a classic ancient Greek play, and in this story, the play comes out as a boy who is abandoned by his father because of a prophecy that the king's son will one day kill his father. And as the story goes, I'll condense it a bit. But the boy is saved by, I think, a shepherd, and grows up, and then encounters a stranger in the woods as he grows up, kills him, goes into the city, I think it's Thebes, solves a few riddles by a divine beast, the Sphinx, and then marries the queen and becomes king. And only later does he realize that the man that he killed in the forest was his father, the king, and that the queen is in fact his mother. This once again is an archetypal, it's an archetypal play that happens inside our own minds. When we don't have a good relationship with our mother or with our father, or our parents had dysfunctional relationship with one another, very often our relationship with our mother becomes warped, and it manifests itself in our relationships. We hear of the cliche that a man, falls in love with the woman who most resembles his mother, and that is because of old wounds concerning his parents that haven't been healed. We hear of the same thing when women fall in love and marry their parents, their fathers, so resemblances of their fathers. And there's whole crazy dysfunctional relationships that happen because of that. Take this opportunity to analyze your own relationship with women and your feelings about the feminine as a whole, towards women as a whole. I think that any negative emotions can be tied to negative feelings about your mother. Same thing for positive ones. Ask yourself what you are trying to get out of your relationships on a fundamental emotional level. It's very easy to rationalize about what we actually want, whereas our deep needs and our deep wants very often stem from these wounds. So, the dreamer. The dreamer takes the spiritual impulses of the Oedipal child to an extreme, whereas the boy is possessed by the mama's boy, also shows signs of passivity. He at least actively seeks mother, or the feminine. The dreamer, however, causes the boy to feel isolated and cut off from all human relationships. For the boy who is under the spell of the dreamer, relationships are with intangible things and with the world of the imagination within him. As a consequence, while other children are playing, he may sit on a rock, dreaming his dreams. He accomplishes little and appears withdrawn and depressed. Often his dreams tend to be melancholy on the one hand, or highly idyllic and ethereal on the other. I see this I saw this a lot of myself and in other men, how, as men, we often fantasize about women. We have the idea of the ideal woman without actually seeing the woman in front of us. or we have fantasies about our prowess with women, or we we think a lot about how much we lack the skills with women without actually being present with the woman, being present in her feminine. I think that this is this is one of the things that stretches through everything, stretches through the other three archetypes, and it influences us in such a profound way. But of the four archetypes, it is the one that is really bubbling below the surface. Keep in mind that, on an energetic, so to speak, level, so the feminine, on an energetic level, the one that is nurturing, the one that accepts others, the one that feels and understands and is intuitive. If I look through a man's life, I would say that it permeates everything. It permeates a lot more than the masculine. We'll talk about this more when I get into spirituality. Specifically, I'll talk about Taoism and the Tao. That's the origins of the yin yang. But for yourself, if you wish to develop your own feminine side, first of all, develop your masculine side as far as you can, but pick up meditation. Meditation is the acts of just thinking less, doing less, and trying to feel within inside yourself. So feel the subtle energy inside of you. Once you meditate quite a bit, you'll be able to do this, and just feel the impulses and the intuition, and just being present with yourself, and then afterwards being present with other people. Okay, thanks a lot, guys. In my next video, we'll be looking into the man psychology, the mature versions of the three archetypes. It's going to be, quite a few videos, and it can take quite a few time because Robert Moore and Douglas Gillette do go into quite some rigorous detail. But yeah, we'll go through it together. We'll take our time and we'll take it apart. In the meantime, go through the videos as often as you like and really question yourself. Question where the boy psychology comes into play. It's difficult for us because often the boy psychology has become a habit, a part of who we are, and it's difficult for us to say the decisions that I have made in my life, the mindsets that I've taken up in my life, that is probably wrong, or it can be improved upon. Okay, take care, man. I'll see you soon.